Okay, today I'm talking about the situation where supposedly President Donald Trump is planning to get rid of child support. Well, let me share my thoughts with you about that. First of all, child support is a big problem in the United States because it's like a two-edged sword. You got the women who are depending upon the child support and the men who are giving the child support. I know there's some women that give child support, but there's far and few in between. You've got to understand something, that divide and conquer has been used by the folks that run this country all over the globe. So when they started the attack on the, let's say, black family, and this affects whites as well, because as some of you know, there's white people in my family. Some of them reminded me that there's white folks in my family, which I need no reminder of that. I just speak the truth. I don't care who it hits. If it hits the man in the mirror, I'll say the same thing. But back to my point, this is most devastating to low-income whites and primarily blacks, because blacks have been the target of this racist system ever since we have been here. Now, here's my views on this child support issue. Whether you like President Donald Trump or not is irrelevant. Donald Trump has, with his sexist and racist and egocentrical self, he has done a lot to expose the other side of white America, the suave, bourgeois, conceited, covert operations that have been used to destroy black people. You are so in love with Hillary Clinton. You've got to be a damn fool to be in love with Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton if you look at what they have done to black people. Now you got to keep in mind, when your black folks got out of slavery, they were Republicans. Republicans. Now, am I saying you become a Republican? No, but I'm saying get off this stupid, brainless, you got to be a Democrat crap. Your being a Democrat has got you what? Now, you're so quick to want to do things that are anti the Republican Party. Actually, a lot of that the Republican Party is doing, I concur with, other than what they're doing for the wealthy people. You know, such as their gun legislation. Black folks, if you didn't have a gun, you wouldn't have nothing but a Bible, period. That's it, because that's about all you've got. So at least you have the ability to have some protection. But that's not my subject. I'm talking about Donald Trump and his decision to get rid of child support. Now, child support issues have been a big source of contention among black families. So first they come in and they strip the black man from his ability to have the pride of being the head of his household. And you can get off of this stuff where you want to come in and tell me about some nigga that done got into a position and got his little damn degrees and your few tokens. I don't hear about your tokens. I'm talking about the masses of black people. Okay? You don't tell me about your little Halle Berrys and all these folks that done got up and got some positions, your Clarence Thomases and all that junk. I'm talking about the masses of black people. The masses of black people are the target. So when you further destroy the families, now it sounds like a good thing. You come up with child support. Well, you give a black man a whole bunch of drugs, and there's no drugs in the black community, so you take the United States government and you make sure there's plenty of drugs in the black community. And what'll help turn them to drugs? You got to make sure that there's a lack of jobs. Look at East St. Louis, for example. Look at Flint, Michigan. Look at just go around the United States, and you see all of this plight taking place in the black community economically. So you make sure they got plenty of Jesus that talks about getting something after the grave, okay? Go real big with that. George Bush Jr. gets on and talks about the faith-based initiatives, because they want to make sure that you black folks have plenty of faith that when you die, it's going to be a wonderful thing for you, okay? Now, but while we sit here, they continue to erode away at our community. Every place that used to be a business, there's a church now. Not every place. Some Negro gonna tell me, why you getting on there saying that? Because there's a black business on my corner. Stick your head in the toilet and talk to the toilet bowl. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about mass numbers. You drive from one end of the United States to the other, and almost 99% of what you see outside of the hood is white owned. So, therefore, you take away the man's ability to make money, and now how can we get him into the penal system, the new day slavery? Oh, okay, we got the drugs in there, it's going to mess his mind up. Okay, we got the alcohol. He might not go straight to the drugs, so let's make sure there's plenty of alcohol in his community. Oh, can't we find alcohol everywhere? Yeah, there's plenty of alcohol, right? The government admits they brought drugs into the country, but now you think because they wear them white collars that they have clean hearts. When they smile at you, you don't remember the song says, smile is a frown turned upside down, right? So now your community is full of drugs, and what do drugs do? Drugs cause people to walk up to one another and shoot one another in the head just for a 10-minute high, right? Drugs cause people to kick in doors and shoot and leave carnage everywhere just because they need something called green paper, which they call money, right? Drugs causes your black men to end up in jail where they can never vote and have an effect upon the system, and also they can never bear arms, okay? Drugs help open up the door for cops to show justification for shooting people, right? Because they could have been a drug dealer. Drugs also let the media begin to label somebody, oh, we found this particular actor, this person with a kilo of drugs, so they got to go to jail. What about your damn generals and colonels and stuff that you paid to bring drugs into the community? What about your turning your back upon the people who you found guilty of being partakers of bringing the tons of drugs into the United States? But you say there's a war on drugs. There should be a war on thugs. If there is a war on thugs, would turn to places in high positions in the country, but you don't want to do that. So you label black people with your control of the media as those who are primarily the source of the problem. I remember some time ago when I was a manager of a burglar alarm company, there used to be reports that came from certain police agencies about the people and the crime. So those guys who were cops, they end up using those as a guide to go where to sell burglar alarms, right? All right, so one thing that shocked me way back 30 years ago was in St. Louis City. I was shocked that there was so much white on white crime that never made the news. I mean, these were former cops. I wasn't a cop back then. These were former cops and so forth, and present cops, and they used to have printouts at the end. They didn't do it computerization like today. I actually was mind blown that there was so much white on white crime, because it would give the pedigree. Pedigree is a race, sex, and so forth, date of birth of the people who did it. I was stunned. And so, but the media was always showing black people as criminals. When the sheet was full of more white crime, I say 70% of it was white at that time, until they started a massive attack on the black family. Back to child support. So you've done all of this stuff to strip the black man. You come up with your legislation and housing that the man cannot be in the house with the woman, and you kick her, the children can be there, but the man can't be there. What kind of damn law is that? You know that had to have a motive. So now the man has no place to stay, so you dividing the family further. Then you come up with your feminist movement, where you're trying to show that the